Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome each and every one of you to a new League of Legends video. So it almost feels like a tradition by now, because every single time after a new patch has been out for a couple of days, I release a video giving you guys my 7 or 8 or 6 or whatever must pick or ban champions. Personally, I like having this video consistently come out after every single patch because it gives you guys a hopefully better idea as to which champions are probably the stronger ones at the very moment, which ones you should really start worrying about and either picking or banning. So right before we jump into the very first champion I'll be talking about, the question of today's video is, which champion do you feel like right now is extremely overpowered? And if this type of video is still something you enjoy seeing and it's helpful, then let me know by hitting that like button. Alright guys, so jumping into the very first champion of this video, and the one that's probably considered to be the strongest one at the very moment, we have Sona. Sona is sitting at an abysmally high win rate. I mean, it's literally just under 60%, but she's also sitting around a 14% play rate, which is quite insane. Usually a champion to have a very high win rate also implies that their play rate is probably less than 5%, but to have both of these percentages quite high is very rare, and when it does happen, well, it clearly means something. So as it stands, ever since the new changes to Sona happening this patch, she is without question one of the best champions in League of Legends and probably the best champion for support. She's much more utility focused now, her heals are just overall better, the damage is still pretty much there, and she can have an insanely high cooldown reduction on her Q, W, and E with the level 3 ultimate and also 40% CDR. All in all, this is not a champion you want to face, especially if the person really knows how to play Sona, so I highly recommend you either pick her or ban her. But if you happen to get Sona and want to play her, then here are my recommended items, runes, and masteries to play her to success. It's a little bit of an aggressive rune page for Sona because you want to be aggressive with the champion overall because that's kind of her intention, but at the same time for the items, I mean, as a support, it varies quite often. It just depends on what ADC are you playing with, what's the enemy team have, what does your team have, but in general, I've seen a lot of Sonas go a little bit more of an aggressive build path. But let's move into the next champion, something that I'm sure most of you are already quite familiar with, Hecarim. It seems like Ryze is still not nerfing this guy because he has been very strong for several patches in a row, to the point where I personally consider him to be one of the best, if not the best champion at the very moment in the last patch. So naturally, I mean, since he's not receiving any nerfs, he's not really receiving any indirect nerfs either, Hecarim is still going to be Hecarim. He's still going to be very strong, he's still going to be building that one damage item and the rest being tank. He's still going to be getting to your backline and damaging them down quite effectively. And at the end of the day, he is going to be still Hecarim. So, if you're playing League of Legends and you're playing ranked, I highly recommend you either ban this pony or pick him. Because not only is he strong, but he can be played quite successfully in 2 different roles. Of course, jungle being the main one, but you can also definitely take him into top lane and have great success. So if you do end up playing him, then here's my recommended build. Now, it's going to be the same thing as I mentioned in the previous must pick or ban video, but in case you haven't seen it or in case you need a reminder, here it is. Again, the main thing you want to look at is the fact that for items, you have a lot of tanky items. I mean, you even go the Cinderhulk jungle item, you go Deadman, Sterax, and Trinity Force, which also gives you a mix of damage and also tankiness. And just to make your E ability and overall your playstyle just more fluid and better, you have movement speed quints, and of course the boots of swiftness. But moving on to champion number 3, this is where we're going to be talking about the new Ryze. Now, if you look at his statistics at the very moment, it's actually quite bad. I mean, his win ratio is extremely low. But by now, I mean, it's a common trend. Every single new champion or rework champion tends to be fairly low on the win ratio because not only are they getting banned very frequently, so the very few people that do maybe rarely get the champion don't really know what they're doing, but it just overall takes a bit of time to actually fully understand the champion and how to play them. From my experience, I actually do believe Ryze is extremely strong. I mean, he has a lot of potential. He has a lot of different cool things he can do, especially with his E ability. His ultimate just sets up an insane amount of plays. But even with all of that being said, this is a champion that you definitely want to ban because not only do you not want someone on the enemy team that happens to really know how to play this champion to get him, but at the same time, you don't really want someone on your team to play him just for the sake of playing him because he's a new champion and they don't really know what they're doing. But in case you're one of those people that picks the new champion for the sake of playing him in a ranked game just to tilt everyone else on your team, then here's my recommended build and overall playstyle for Ryze. You want to max your Q first, followed by your E, followed by your W. And in terms of your items, it's honestly fairly close to what you would normally build on Ryze prior to the rework. You have Rod of Ages, you have your Tear, the Goddess into your Archangel Staff, and then you have things like your Morellonomicon and your Lucidity Boots for the CDR, Void Staff of course being an absolute core item, and then top it off with something like a Rabadon's or maybe a Guardian's Angel. Stormator Surge because he's still all about the positioning and being at the right place at the right time in order to successfully utilize his full combo. But let's move into another champion, a very new face especially to this specific video series, Kennon. Now I'm pretty sure a lot of you did not expect to see this champion on this list, and to be fair it is a little bit random, but the reason I included him is because I truly believe he's a sleeper OP. I've seen some Kennons so far and I have to say it is actually very scary because he's not only very tanky with the build that you're running, he does a lot of damage, and his teamfight presence with his ultimate, especially ever since he got reworked in the mid-season update, is very strong. I feel like it's just taking people a very long time to just truly realize, you know what, this guy, this little Yordle thing, he's very strong. So he's not necessarily a must ban at the moment because a lot of people don't really know about his strength, but in my opinion, you should definitely pick him up whether you're playing top lane or mid lane. Trust me, he is going to be strong and he is going to be very, very good. So with all that being said, if you do decide to try and play Kennon, because again, like I said, I do think he's a very strong champion, here's my recommended build. You go this sort of annoying tanky AP build with the Proto Belt, with the Zhonya's Hourglass and the Ryze Crystal Scepter. But other than that, for your runes, your masteries, and even your abilities, everything should be quite self-explanatory and nothing should be out of the ordinary. Just try them out, and if you do, let me know down in the comments below how it went for you. But moving on to the next champion that's also a must pick or ban is going to be once again Malzahar. Now I'm getting honestly a little sick and tired of talking about Malzahar. I want someone else to talk about. I want a fresh champion. But if Ryze is just simply refusing to do anything about him and just consistently let him be at a pretty damn good spot in several roles, again mid lane, top lane, and the jungle, then it's really just not something I cannot talk about. Because he is at the end of the day a strong champion, and he is at the end of the day a must pick or ban champion as well. He still has that insane damage, he has fantastic synergy with all of his abilities, he can lock down a target that's simply just fed, he can destroy tanks as well. He's still very strong when it comes to taking objectives because of all of those voidlings that you spawn, and I mean, he's just very annoying to play against. I'm sure you guys have heard me blabble about Malzahar for several videos in a row now, so I'm not going to say too much more that I haven't already said, but either way, Malzahar still a must pick or ban until some nerfs finally hit him. And in case you haven't seen the previous videos, then here are my recommended items, runes, and masteries for playing Malzahar. Again, everything here should be somewhat self-explanatory. Deathfire Touch is quite strong on him as well because of the synergy. Ryze Crystal Scepter is fantastic if you're playing mid lane Malzahar, Morellonomicon. If the enemy team has an abundance of tanks, Liandry's is great as well, obviously Void Staff being core, and everything else should be self-explanatory. But let us move on to the next champion on the list, and it's gonna be Vladimir. Again, just like Malzahar, another champion that is always on these lists, and I'm honestly getting a little bit tired of talking about them. And even though his win ratio isn't the highest thing in the entire world, everyone that I talk to, especially in the higher elos, just keeps saying, yeah, he's a very strong champion in the mid lane, he's even a pretty decent champion in top lane still, he's definitely a must pick or ban. Because ever since the changes to him a couple of patches ago where they kind of nerfed his tankiness, but buffed his APness, he's just been overall more well suited for mid lane, and you still build roughly these same items that you would before, and even though he isn't as strong as he was before, he's still definitely up there on the list, and he's definitely someone you should watch out for. So just like every other champion I have so far talked about, if you haven't seen it before, then here's my recommended build for playing Vladimir, mainly for the mid lane. It's actually very similar to what you would build on Kennon, because you still go for that Proto Belt, you still go for the Ryze and the Zhonyas, except for Vladimir, you substitute in that beautiful Spirit Visage for the extra HP. You also go for that Stormator Surge because Vladimir has very minimal CC, so he can do a lot of damage very quickly, and the Stormator Surge proc will help him get into position and stay on his target that much easier. But all in all, these are the runes and masteries you guys have probably seen for several episodes in a row now, so I won't go too much more into them. But the final champion I'll be talking about before one honorable mention is going to be an ADC, Jhin. This guy has been picked so damn often recently that it's actually kind of ridiculous. I feel like he's almost becoming the Lucian of League of Legends because almost every single ranked game I play, I see a Jhin. And quite honestly, the main reason for this is because people are realizing, you know what, if I go that assassin-y kind of build with Youmuu's and Duskblade, it is going to be a ridiculous amount of damage and you are going to be shredding through a lot of people. So that's one of the main reasons why Jhin is so popular right now, just going that flat armor penetration build. So for me personally, if I was supposed to be playing ADC in a ranked game, Jhin without question is my go-to champion. But even when I'm playing mid lane, I'm actually seeing a fair number of people starting to ban Jhin as well. So definitely a must pick or ban champion, very strong at the very moments, and not someone you should underestimate. Now the build for Jhin is as follows. Like I said, you want to go this heavy armor penetration build with the Youmuu's and the Duskblade, and then follow that into some traditional ADC type items, Rapid Fire Cannon, Infinity Edge, and a Last Whisper. He is also probably the only ADC that you go Deathfire Touch because of just his ridiculous amount of scaling, so this thing with your ultimate especially is going to be doing quite a bit of damage. Your runes are also very specific to Jhin as an ADC because you don't run any attack speed, you just go this sort of assassin-y, almost the same page you would run on Zed instead. Now, right before the video ends, I have one quick honorable mention, and that's going to be going towards Ashe. Now, people can argue who's better, Ashe or Jhin for the ADC slot, and it's a very, very close call, but personally, I want to put a little bit more spotlight onto Jhin this patch because last patch, I put the spotlight onto Ashe. But I wanted to just very quickly and briefly mention Ashe here because yeah, she is still very strong. And yeah, she's probably a champion you want to pick if she's open and maybe even consider banning because she still has one of the best ultimates in the entire game. She scales surprisingly well, her laning phase is surprisingly quite good as well. But just want to clear it up just in case people were wondering where Ashe was and why she's not on the list. But all in all guys, that is about it for this video. There you have it, my must pick or ban champions for patch 6.14. If you did enjoy this video or found it useful or informative, let me know by hitting that like button. Also remember to answer the question of the video underneath in the comments. Make sure to share this with your friends and check out my other videos as well. And I'll see you for the next one. Peace.